Dr. Komolafe, thank you so much for that. I'm happy you really spoke about hypertension. It's something that people take for granted. People think every headache is like, malaria or typhoid, but some people don't realize that headache is also a symptom for hypertension, and it's one of the silent killers. So please don't play with your health. Go check your blood pressure. It is very, very, very important.
Exactly. Yes. Well, now we've moved on to the interview segment. Like we said earlier, a lot of internationally, Nigeria is known for its sports talent, and we're asking our guest, who is already seated this morning. He is Geoffrey Butson. He's the president, Lighthouse Rescue Sports Outreach. How can Nigeria tap into this talent that we have to empower our youths? Welcome to our studios this morning. Good morning.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Butson.
Good morning to you.
Like she started with the introduction, sports is something that has been a unifier, and then the one place you see it is during football.
Right.
When people play matches, nobody cares about their tribe, their their religion. Everybody gathers together. There's this spirit. I want to use the word spirit that sports kinds of brings, and then people forget their personal issues and then just focus on the game.
Exactly.
Like she mentioned, you're the founder and the president of Lighthouse Rescue Sports Outreach.
Yep.
Let's start with that. What exactly does that, what does that do, and then what is it about?
Well, Lighthouse Rescue Sports Outreach was founded back in 1996.
Okay.
With the vision of using sports as a bridge to reach Nigerian youth.
Okay.
Because we found out there are lots of vices out there that's taking over the minds of a lot of youths. You see youths dropping out of school.
Yes.
Some because they are so passionate in sports, some just because they don't want to go to school. But you see them on the field every day, attending every sports session.
Okay.
So we said, it's not that they are not committed, but they just need their mind channeled in the right direction.
Exactly.
So we decided to say, okay, we're going to use sports as a bridge to reach out to them. So we got them involved into what we call open play. There is basketball, volleyball, soccer going on in the field. Everybody's allowed to come.
Okay.
And as they play, sports is governed by rules.
Yes.
Try to get them to adhere to the rules. And we saw a lot of them following. We know that these youths that looks as if they are not disciplined are actually disciplined.
They just needed the right motivation or the right channel.
Yes, so we kept doing that and then brought in lessons. We had to gradually bring in life skills. We said there should be more to it than just playing sports. So we brought in life skills. So life skills, what are the life skills? First, we use the basic life skills that sports teaches. We use dedication, commitment, respect, you understand? Communication. So we pick those topics. We get them to research from it. Meanwhile, we have materials on them. They research on respect, teamwork, dedication.
Who researches the students or the people?
We tell them, what do you feel about it? Just go think about it before you come tomorrow.
Okay.
When they come tomorrow, they share their minds. And then we haven't studied based on our materials. We teach them more and elaborate on respect.
Okay. So when you do, sorry to cut you there. When you do that, is it in the bid to get them playing professionally, or for now is just to engage them so that they do not fall back to vices?
The basic thing is not putting their mind on professional sports, but giving them the basic rudiments of the sports they choose, which can lead them to playing professional.
So that's not
tomorrow.
the focus. It's not international.
Yeah, the focus is not it. But they are going to get the best of sports coaching, the rudiments, basics of the sports they choose. But our target is the mind, because it's sports and leadership development. That's what we do at LRSO. So once the mind is developed and built and helped to think right and act right, anything can come out tomorrow.
Right.
So having done that, we saw them going through the sessions very well, started engaging them into seminars, sports seminars, started engaging them into community services. Like we've gone around in some places in Abuja and in Jos, sent them around to schools where they went to do volunteer renovation on their sports ground. Either fixing the goalposts for the school free of charge, basketball court, painting the lines.
Right.
We bought the paints, do that.
The
So you see them being very creative.
Yes, the next question I'm going to ask is, at what age do you encourage these people to join? And is it gender friendly? Is it only male, boys that join, or but boys and girls?
Exactly.
Good question. At age, we play with that a lot here. Okay. But, in Nigeria, you go out on the street, you see young people kicking ball everywhere. So we try to bring it as low as possible, especially
like
from
age?
3.
From 3, that early?
Yes.
Okay, great.
There's the young class where you have to get them to love the game and then get them to follow the rules.
Okay.
Let me use basketball, for instance. You bring a 3-year-old child, give him a ball and say, dribble the ball on this line to the end and back. The child will wobble a little, but we keep walking towards getting it perfect. We've done that consistently with many players, like Dupe in Abuja here. At that age, after 2 weeks, she was walking, dribbling the ball to the end and back on that straight line. The lines on the court.
Yes.
So that is inculcating discipline in her, focus and everything. Then it's gender friendly, it's open to all, because we know that equality is also equity, like you said. What is given to the boy child should be given to the girl child. The girl child can bring laurels tomorrow to the parents, the community, the nation. So the development should be given equally to all. So we actually encourage a lot. We've had a private school league here in Abuja from 2005 and in Jos from 2002, where we insist that all games must be played the same day. If the girls are playing, the boys have to play the same day.
Right.
So each game day, the girls play the first game, the boys play the second game. Right. So you can't just travel and play a boys game and back.
And come back, okay.
Yes.
Okay, so let's move a little away from the Lighthouse Rescue Sports outreach and now move to Nigeria. How can we encourage sports, especially in our schools? Just like she said, very often we do not see that engagement with the grassroots talent, and we do not see them catching, like she mentioned, catching them young. How can we encourage that in our schools and in our communities, basically?
It's basically first by developing infrastructure, the sports facilities. We lack that. If you go around our schools, whenever I go, I just have such a heart for the young men of this generation because they are not having the basic facilities.
Exactly.
We need to have facilities. We need to have it. Then secondly, we need to be very intentional about developing them. We need to have coaches. We need to have coaches trained. Not just having a game master that coaches every sport in the school alone. The game master is
you're suggesting specific coaches
for
specific sports.
So
someone for football, someone for basketball, someone.
I know some schools that have a swimmer as the entire sports director, so he does everything.
And that is wrong. That is wrong. There is a child somewhere that maybe his interest is high jump, and he does not have someone that will give him the basics of high jump. So we need to be intentional about that. Because education is whole encompassing. Sports is a vital part of it. Exactly. It helps the child to be able to maximize himself, bring out the best that he has in him. So I think when we develop sports facilities, we design a program, we develop coaches, engage coaches to train the kids. We'll see more from our youths in schools. But beyond the schools, like you said, in the community, the community needs to be very intentional. We need to see sports facilities. These days, when I move around Abuja, I'm not so happy when I pass certain areas. Because we know there are areas out there that are meant for sports, open gardens, but today you go and see a building erected on it. So you see an entire community, but no playground for the kids in that community. You have to jump 5 communities to go and get a playground, and it's not healthy. How many parents will allow a child to move that far? How many young people would want to do that every day? So the community should be intentional, just like we have in our local communities. A child will come out from the house, and right close to the house, there's a field where he plays. So the same thing we should do in the cities and everywhere. We should be intentional.
When you talk about being intentional, and then I like to narrow it down to the communities that you've talked about. You said you've gone to certain communities and you see this. Do you think it's because people don't understand the role sports can play in a child's developmental growth. For example, when you were talking about the young kid, where you said you're teaching her how to play, basketball on a straight line. It's building focus. It's building discipline. It's building, other things which sports does. It brings, and then you talked about the vices that a lot of youths are getting involved in, and then you know, because you're in the field, that sports can be a distraction for them and remove them. Do you think we need, as a people, collectively, enough sensitization to know that, look, sports can actually can actually help to mold or form characters? Is it that we don't really understand this, or we need more enlightenment about it?
Well, it's two ways. In some parts where you deal with parents like we do, or even school owners and coaches in the community, we see both. We see people who don't understand it.
Okay.
Who don't understand. But we see people who know it and know it was done like this in the past, but intentionally not letting it go the way it is. So I think we need more orientation, more enlightenment, and then we need to create awareness for people to know that, yes, this can form a vital part of a kid's life. There's a child here in Abuja, and I know one in Jos, that from being that troublesome child in school, who likes to fight, who don't like to stay in math class, who likes to dodge all school activities. From that, sports changed him into a disciplined person. He went through our training sessions. He actually got scholarship, and he's schooling in the US. He's in his university right now.
Right.
All through without the parents paying anything. Sports did that to him. And the transformation in the mind, in the life of that child, from who he used to be to who he is now, was done because of sports. So if we understand that as a parent, as a community, as society, as the government, we will pay more attention to that.
To that, exactly.
Yes.
In some parts of the world, there is an initiative to encourage sports, which is you get sports scholarship. So if you're trying to gain admission into college, you don't necessarily be perfect in your academics, but because you're really good in sports. Is it something we think Nigeria should introduce just to enhance the sport development in the country?
Yes, it's something Nigeria should introduce. I would like to say there are schools that we know are doing that in Nigeria.
Right, that's a good one.
Yes, I know ABU Zaria does that. Coach OBJ of ABU Zaria have come to me in Abuja and in Jos severally, saying you have exceptional talents. I think we should encourage them, let them go to school.
Right.
Oh wow, this is awesome.
That's awesome.
And then they pick students from your school and then further their education in the university.
Yes, they do that. They've been doing that. And I heard recently that also Nile University doing that open trial and doing that. But basically, the concept of sports scholarship is mostly with the US school. America found that there's a gap that needs to be bridged.
Okay.
I'll give an example. There is a young man I used to train also back in Jos. He moved to Abuja and he loved basketball so much, Beck Jang. So he came over and met me in the playground in UTC back then and said he wants to play. So we started playing. Before you know, he joined the FCT team. Before you know, he got admission in University of Abuja at Gogolada. So you see the conflict. Yeah. He has to train with the FCT team in Area 10.
Then go all the way to Gogolada. So definitely one must suffer.
One suffers.
Which one?
Sometimes both. The lectures. The kids love, they have passion for sports. Yeah. So he wants to attend all his training sessions. So you could see him at the weekends playing Saturday, Sunday. And then Sunday evening running back to Gogolada. Or if he's late, Monday morning running back. He could miss some classes. So, but you can see that he is disciplined and he's passionate about basketball. He wants to play and he pushed the measure he did. So the same thing was happening there. But the US carried all that was bringing the passion, all the competition the kids want there in the community.
Yes.
And brought them into colleges.
Exactly.
So imagine like the FCT team moved to University of Abuja at Gogolada.
Exactly.
So Gogolada is Division 1. KFE is Division 1.
Make it easier to do.
So you don't need to leave your school to go and play for a club somewhere because your school is D1, Division 1, Division 2, or Division 3.
Wow.
So, and your school coach is professional. A lot of times more than even the ones outside there. So you don't need to be distracted. So that gave birth to good sports development program and then progress into giving scholarships, because every school wants to have the best and also want to win the laurels.
Is there any synergy between your organization, which is the Lighthouse Rescue Sports Mission, and then the Ministry of Youth and Sports? Do you have any synergy with them?
Yes, what we do is, not at the national level, in every state where we operate, we affiliate with the ministry in that level.
Okay.
Yes, so and sports is very vast.
Exactly.
If, for instance, if your soccer ministry was affiliates with the PFA, the Football Association of that state.
Okay.
The basketball affiliates with the Basketball Association with that state. So it's at that level
and you
you
said
move
the
up.
state you affiliate with. How many states are you?
Basically two. Our operations have been basically between Abuja and Jos.
And Plateau State.
Yes, Plateau
Okay.
State, yeah.
Okay, great.
So we affiliate at that and we work together. It's a good network because they give the enabling environment. Affiliating, they give technical support in a lot of instances. The programs we do have been grassroots and developmental, like our high school basketball, the secondary school basketball league has been there since 2004 in Jos, and then in Abuja since 2006. So it's a long time of grassroots sports development.
The major sports in Nigeria for most people is football, which is unfortunately one game I don't like. I don't even understand it, but that's the major game that a lot of even the government focuses on. You see them, investing money in football. You really see a lot, even though I know it's going on about table tennis, basketball, other board game, other sports game. Why do we seem to have so much focus or more focus on football than other sports as a means of empowerment for the youth? Everybody wants their child to be JJ or Kocha, I think, or those kind of people.
Yeah, I think starting with the child, not even the parents or who wants it to be, starting with the child himself. I've been in a community where I dropped a golf ball, a tennis ball, and a soccer ball. I dropped them on the ground. Children were playing. I just came, opened my bag, and dropped the balls.
A golf ball, a tennis ball, and a football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of them ran for the football.
How many people have seen the golf ball?
But then
Do they know what it is?
So it's intentional.
You need a table, don't you?
So it's intentional. Sorry.
But then again, when you put the tennis ball, for instance,
They need a table
They need
to play.
No.
So golf is a big man's game. So automatically, the children will automatically run for the football because that's what they see everywhere.
Beautiful. So that was an intentional test.
Yes.
To show the interest of the basic Nigerian child.
Okay.
We wanted to see that.
Okay.
Then we did the second one.
Okay.
The next day, I went with English textbook, a very nice, colorful book, and then a ball. Then I left the book. The kids were playing there.
I would even pick the ball.
That's what they did.
I would even pick the ball, even though I don't know anything
So
about
it was a
football.
test.
Yes.
So I think it's natural. If you drop the ball, you don't tell the little child that is seeing the ball for the first time that he needs to kick it.
Right.
They just start kicking
It's
it.
an innate,
Exactly.
Yes, so
innate.
it comes naturally from that. We just need to harness it properly. So coming up, that's how football gets the popularity. We do a lot of rural sports development program.
Okay.
I love basketball most, but in most of the rural communities, I end up playing football and volleyball.
Right.
Because every community, you just see a piece of land, all you need to is to cut two sticks, form
And
a
then you
goalpost.
form the goalpost.
Or just put stone here, stone there, that's a goalpost. And we play great games. They are so happy they don't want us to go because it's a sports outreach. So we always move out. And Lighthouse, that's what we do. So where we want them to test another game, have a feel of it, we cut two sticks from the forest with the permission, get a net and fix net. They play volleyball. It's also easy to have.
Exactly.
But they can't have basketball that easy until you have that structure.
So it's cheaper.
It's cheaper.
To train children to play football, and maybe volleyball than basketball.
Yeah, maybe that goes to the facilities that you're asking government to improve on. But let's move ahead to the empowerment part. An African star, a football star, was recounting the stories as to how he emerged a star. And I'm sorry, I'm not a football person per se, just like if I
Two of us are hopeless in football.
And so I might not be able to give you the name and all of that. But I read the story and he said, when he noticed, that's the father of this African star, said when he noticed that his son was talented, he reached out to the football commission in his local, in his community, and he was told to pay a certain amount for his child to play in the little league. Somehow he found his way abroad, and the child is today celebrated because when he went there, they could see the talent, and they didn't ask for money. In fact, if anything, he was being paid. Do you think such stories are stifling Nigerian athletes and talent? Well,
that story, we have such stories similar, and they're all over the place. But they limit in some areas because there are parents who can't pay. Where do they take their child? You understand? If you can't pay, does it mean your child should not have that opportunity? That's why I remember at the beginning I mentioned open play. What we do in Lighthouse, in LRSO, is have open play where you don't pay. You don't pay. It's non-for-profit. You understand? That's what we are. So it's an open play for every child. Just come out. If they come out, you see them playing barefooted. Some pitch have sharp stones. You see these kids playing barefooted.
The passion drives
them. So instead, we push out for good-spirited individuals, organizations, schools, churches, companies to give in. And some you see them bring in pairs of shoes.
Just to donate.
Yes. Wow. So with that, we won't have limitation for our kids because when they go out there, they always excel and they are always exceptionally different. And a lot of times they are beginning here. It's not with the best facilities or the best training or equipment.
However, is that why they thrive so well when they go abroad?
Yeah, because you have everything.
They now have the better facilities. And they had started on the hard ground barefooted. So when I have shoes now, I mean, I should walk easily. It makes a lot of sense.
One of our students, the first day in the school in the US, after orientation here, he got this basketball scholarship to go and study in the US. So before going, you could see his tents. How is that place? How is it going to be? How will I survive? We say you have to take your studies serious and take your sports serious. If you play with your GP in the US, it will affect your scholarship. You come back home. So you could see.
So you have to balance both.
Yeah, you have to balance both. So when he got there, the second week he called me and laughed. He dropped his when he saw his timetable, he dropped it there and laughed. He said, in Nigeria, I'm taking so many courses. There I see, look at 6 courses.
Wow.
And they thrive well. On the field, you can see the energy is there. They are playing. They have the basic rudiments. But the game, exposure to the game situation is always lacking because that level of technicality or use of those facilities and equipment have not been there. So a lot of time it takes them 6 months to 1 year, some 3 months to adjust. They are good players, but they have to adjust because of what they didn't have at the background.
Talking about technicality that you just mentioned now, I recall you had said that so many schools have like maybe one teacher teaching everything. Do you think that we have enough sports teachers in Nigeria generally, you know, in the field? Do you think we have enough sportsmen that are in school? Most sports people, you find them maybe in the stadium and then that's where they are. But do you see that that's kind of teaching skills of sports trickling down into the classrooms, into the schools, into the fields where you actually have enough schools? Or is it because schools choose not to pay? So it's cheaper for us to get one person and then say one person does all, or because we don't really have the expertise as teachers to come into those schools and then teach different sports?
I think I'll still say it's a two-way thing.
Okay, great.
I've seen schools that, yes, they want to pay. They don't want to hire extra coaches. They request that they want a volunteer coach.
Wow.
They don't want to pay. So he will take the other sports while the game master takes all. Then the other area is we lack sports teachers.
Okay.
Many schools in different states have called me asking for a female teacher, you know, being gender sensitive. They need a female PhD teacher, a female coach to take the ladies, which is okay. But you look around, you will not see a female PhD teacher.
Why?
That PhD as a course, we need to also encourage it.
Okay.
Because Nigerians are tending to go, every parent wants his child to study that professional course.
Medicine, law, my son has to be a medical doctor.
Or be a doctor. So everybody is just turning his eye away from the PhD.
Okay.
So we need to build that. We need to see it as a profession. We need to encourage people to get into it. I've done that. I apologize.
Just for basis, for people watching us, PHE is a physical health
education.
Yeah.
Yes, which is, so that gives birth to a lot. A lot of people, when they go to that course, they get the passion for coaching. So from there, they pursue a coaching line. But then you have the PHE, which is the general. So we need to encourage that. Teachers are lacking in that field. Now, if you go to some schools, I've seen where a maths teacher, I won't call names, I've seen where a maths teacher is a PhD teacher.
Because he's physical, he's healthy. That's what everybody feels.
Yes.
Because as long as you can run, everybody, let's run around, or you can play ball.
Yeah, but
I think that's what the problem is, that they just look at the physical. Okay, you must be a young person. You have
if you're in secondary school, your teacher is just your club. My sports teacher was our club director, and the club director was our geography teacher.
That's it. He was I'm sure the attributes were he was young, and then you're healthy. So everybody assumes, okay, you look like a sports person, so go ahead. But you're actually saying that there needs to be an expertise that teach.
You just said it as if you are in one of the schools. I've been in so many schools where they say, we don't have a PhD teacher. Can you send the coach for us? Then they look, they say, okay, these young people, these young teachers, tomorrow come and come and handle the children.
Okay, Jeffrey, let's talk about the empowerment part of it. I know you can't talk empowerment without talking financials, money, and how these young people can sustain themselves economically. So do parents know in Nigeria what their words can achieve, that if you even move towards sports, like you mentioned, the PHE, they can actually sustain their lives? And is it indeed viable? That's before international organizations now pick on you, because I think that's the goal for a lot of young people who go into sports. Oh, I'm just hoping that I will be discovered. But can you actually be discovered here in the country and you make a living and be sustained, sort of?
Yes, let me start with the parents. Yes, parents, to be fair to parents, they are beginning to get aware a lot, because they have seen what sports have done to others. Ifeanyi here in Abuja, I am sure his neighbors are happy. He used to be one of the kids in secondary school that would block the teachers, harass the teachers.
Wow.
But today he's something else. He's an exceptional kid. He is who you want your child to be with. Sports transformed him. So parents want their children to go through that. But then we've gone through so many years and decades of Nigerian parents not encouraging their kids in sports. We have many great athletes with talents, natural talents, that the parents stop them in sports because sports is seen as a distraction. You want to go and play. It's just play. You understand? So many parents have lost out. We have many who developed, and they were asked to come and represent the state at that grassroots level. Parents said, no, you can't travel anywhere. This sport is play. You have to wait and prepare for your exams. So awareness needs to be out there. Parents need to understand more and allow these kids to be. It's not everybody that will be a medical doctor. It's not everybody that will be an engineer. And that child that you're seeing, he's not sharp, he's dumb in the class, he'll be good in arts. Be good in music.
So how do we change that mindset? Because it's a Nigerian thing. I think it's not even a Nigerian thing. I think it's an African thing. It's an African thing. We feel that certain professions are better off than others. And even in the universities, certain school fees for certain courses are higher than others. So if you're studying medicine, it's assumed that you're going to pay more because you're studying medicine. It's believed to be an elite course. But I know that outside Nigeria, athletes actually make more money than even some of these professionals, you understand? So how do we get that and relating into that empowerment? Because an empowerment is meant to strengthen, make you better, bring more money in your pocket.
Economic sustainability.
How do we get parents to understand that sports is not just running around or using my language, 12 people, 21 people chasing one ball. That's my language for football when I analyze it. So how do you get parents to that mindset to say, look, my son can actually, or my daughter can actually make a lot of money, even more than a medical doctor in Nigeria, just through sports? I think it's a huge disconnect for us.
I think it's basically going to happen through awareness. What we're doing now, what we're going to do tomorrow, What we have people doing at the grassroots level, at the state level, at the national level, what we have people intentional. Like I've said earlier, with the use of that word, intentional. We have to be intentional about it.
I know you've used that word like several times. You're intentional about what you're saying.
We have to be intentional about that.
Yes.
We have to get parents to know. And to be fair to some parents, they don't know. They don't know. When you let them know, when you sit them, you go through that with them patiently. Is their child? You give birth to your child, all you need is grow up, go to school, become a doctor. Some parents, that's what they know. So when you go to them lovingly, they understand you. They see their child coming to your sports ground is shaping into a better person. Exactly. He used to use vulgar words. Coming to the field, you tell him, no foul language. It's a rule for us.
Right.
We say no foul language. You can't use the F word. You can't use any foul language. Any language you are not comfortable using, sitting with your parents, you are not allowed to use it.
There. But before we go into the initiatives and programs that you do, I would like to ask now, for parents who have probably discovered or children who know they have a certain talent and they want to be empowered through sports and listening to you right now, what are those steps you would suggest for them to get to that empowerment and develop their sports talent?
I'll advise them to immediately seek a training ground. Is it an academy or a club closest to the house where the coach is good in taking the kids on rudiments of the game?
Right.
Engage the coach to take care of their kids. Engage their children into the academy to learn, because the foundation of every sport is the basics, the rudiments. They are done in the academy. It's a lot of repetitions. So they have to go there, take their kids there, and start up from there. Then the academy will engage the children in tournaments, in competitions that gives them more skills, more exposure, and that's how they grow. From there, they can easily be picked because they have the basics of the game. It's now manifested by how they play in competitions.
Right.
Talent is sent. They can be picked. So parents have to take their kids.
Right.
They have to go there. Don't just send them. Look for a good coach, a good playground. Take them and get them involved. We've had, like I said earlier, to be fair to the parents, we have more parents coming to us now, bringing their kids
who are
to
getting
Lighthouse.
more aware.
Yes, they're bringing, saying, we want him to train. You see some parents bring the kid and they sit there, they wait, take him back after practice.
Oh, that's a good one.
Discipline, because I know sports is a very disciplined game, irrespective of the sport you're doing. But how can you relate discipline in sports to training the child? I know when we talked about vices in the beginning, you said, you know, some kids have been, like the person they find now that's out of the country used to fight a lot and then he channeled his energy into sport. But how exactly, for a lay person like me, would you say that sports can instill discipline? Not just necessarily by repetition, because if I repeat a bad habit, I'll be good at it. So if I repeat a good habit, whether it's sports or not, let's also be good at it. How do we create that kind of repetition for using sports as a tool to, one, enhance a child mentally and also emotionally, and of course the most obvious one is the physical development? Yes.
Yes, like I mentioned, in Lighthouse Rescue Sports Outreach, we have our programs. It's not just a sports ground where you come to play sports, because we have other programs. The physical aspect.
Okay.
The physical aspect.
Sorry, I have to cut you short. We have to take a very short break now, and then we'll come back right immediately. So don't go anywhere, because we want to know what's going to happen, how we can develop a child physically, mentally, emotionally through sports. Do stay with us, please.